Good evening and welcome to our live crafting session this evening. My name is Jenny McCormac. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley. Our stamp set of the week this week has been Autumn Trees. This one here, sorry if there's any glare. It's obviously dark outside nowadays, so I do have to have my overhead lights on for my craft desk. So it's called Autumn Trees. It's a 7 set of stamps, a set of 7 stamps. That sounds better, doesn't it? And they are red rubber and cling mounted. And I created this card. Let me take it out of its wrapping. 2 or 3 weeks ago, when I featured this for the first time in one of my Wednesday morning sessions. So it's got this lovely deer and obviously the main tree image. It's also got this ground and rocks, and these are particularly useful if you do any scenery stamping. The card that I did on Monday morning was this one here, a thank you card, and I used some different methods for colouring. So this one here was coloured with our blends pens. This one was coloured with a combination of blends pens and also a blending brush with ink and also a sponge dauber for more detailed levels of ink. I added the blue sky around the edge and a little stamp sentiment, and that's all popped onto Occasion Craze layer. Good evening, Caroline. So this one I did coffee and card on Tuesday morning, so I need to just finish this off, but again it was a mixture of showing everybody there the different methods of colouring, so I do need to layer that up and finish that. I thought I would use some other component parts of this collection, and that is the Autumn Toile papers. So these come as 12 by 12 papers. I've cut them down for our paper share. So let me just slide this off and show you. So there are 4 designs and you get 3 sheets of each if you buy a full pack, or you can buy a quarter pack and you'll get 1.5 sheets of each of these. So they're all double-sided and they're very traditional autumn, obviously, colours. So we've got this one. I hope you can see there are foxes on this. Hope you can see those little characters. And on the back of that we've got some nice espresso and crumb cake and basic beige stripes. We've got this one with the pumpkin patch, and it's also got acorns and some little bits and pieces of foliage. This one here I think is a sweet corn patch, and on the back of that we've got just a small dotty overall print, quite tiny. We then have the set that really matches the stamp set. So we've got this tree, which is like the stamp set. We've got the deer and different trees and the scenery. So this in its own right you could use to create a card. On the back of that we've got some early espresso and crumb cake stripes, squares, and then we have this one here with the pheasants both on the ground and in flight, and on the reverse of that we have this lovely set of foliage going up the page. So I thought I would use some of these for our card, and to do something different I'm going to do a slimline card. So that is going to be, in this case I'm going to make it a DL size card, which is basically the 3rd size of an A4. So this is basically cut at 20 centimetres and folded into 2 lots of 10 centimetres, a bit like a business fold card if you had an A4 sheet and you folded it into 3. And what I've done is I've cut out, with some of our dies, I've cut out some of the panels. So I've got the little deer and the trees. I've got this one with the pheasant. I've got this one with the fox. And finally I've got this one here with the pumpkins. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all 4 or whether I'll end up just using 3. And I cut these out with the Stylish Shapes dies, and it's a really useful set of dies because it has layering squares, circles, and then it has some banners as well. So a very useful set. For my base card I'm going to be using this, which is basic beige. And one very useful tip: if you're doing lots of layers, it can get quite heavy as a card and therefore cost you more to post. But what you may not realise is we have our 2-tone cardstock, which is what I've got here, which is a lighter weight card. So if you were doing a lot of cards with multiple layers, you can buy these in individual colours as a pack. I'm not sure whether you can see, it's got a slightly lighter colour on one side than the other. It's sort of showing as really light because of the lighting here, but it does mean you can use either the darker side, which is more like our exact colour match, or you can use the lighter side. So if I put those together, you can see a little bit better. So this is the dark normal side, if you like. This is the light side. Now this is our normal cardstock is dyed, so it's dyed right the way through. This is effectively printed, so the colour is printed onto here. So it's not an exact match, but what we do have is a white core. So when you tear any of our 2-tone cardstock, and if you tear it towards you, you'll get the white side. If you tear it away from you, you'll get the plain colour side. So that's really useful for lots of different techniques. But what I wanted to share with you is that this is a much lighter weight card. You wouldn't use it necessarily for card bases, but if you're using it for layers, it will keep your costs down. It comes as a 12 by 12, so obviously you get more out of an individual sheet. You just need to consider how you cut that to get the most of it. So, and I've got small cutouts here for a sentiment. So let's cut our card first, and then I'm going to decide what my layer is going to look like, whether I need any paper on the back, whether I need to stamp it. We'll have a look. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this to 20 centimetres and score at 10 centimetres. Now I apologise if this is reflecting. So that's 20, and I'm going to score at 10. So nice easy maths for a Thursday evening, like so. And that's going to be our base card. Now I might use that other layer to go on top. So let's take this down to 9.5. A smidge off the edge, literally, about 2 millimeters. And then take this to 20.5, because I know it's 21 centimeters to start with, or I could have just cut 0.5 centimeter, which is what that is. off the side. So I sort of have in my mind what I want this to look like, but that's as far as it's got. So I'm going to layer this together. Now I might make this smaller and add another layer behind, and I might not. That's good, isn't it? So I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto here, and let's just work on this panel to start with. So I'm going to put these layers together. So I could do that actually to start with. And so I've got, just thinking of having them, they could almost be at sort of jaunty angles, like so. 1, 2, and I want to see the majority of this part of the picture, so that is 4. I think that will work. I think 3 would work if I was keeping them straight, because it fills up that space really nicely. And I don't think I need then to stamp the back, but I could stamp those trees. So let me just see. I'm just thinking this one here, just for speed. I haven't put the label on the back, which I probably should do, make life a bit easier. Let me do that. So I hope you're well, Caroline, and anybody else who's joined us. Let me just see if I can tell from my phone who's with us. So do bear with me, I'm sorry. Should have got this up ready. Let me see. Right, I'm the right person I need to be. That's good. Tells me I'm live. That's even better. Okay. Right, evening to you, Caroline. So let's pop this sticker on. Like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this and then decide whether I like it or not. Simple as that. I have had a good day. It's been very busy, but it has been a good day. Right, let's grab a block and espresso ink, I think. Go, and I'm going to put a piece of grid paper underneath just to protect my work surface. So I don't know whether I'm going to like this or not, but let us see really quickly. It does mean actually that I could have my little images a little bit higher. So I'm just varying the height of this tree here. And then, excuse my arm reaching across, have these. So I'm thinking that now might be too busy. To make those like so. It feels really busy. Yeah. All right. I'm pondering on that. Personally, I think it's too busy. So let me stamp my sentiment on here, because I do want to put some twine on there. And I've just got a thinking of you at the ready. trying that one out. There we go. Okay, let's put the little square layers together. So let's move the papers out of the way. So the papers are called Autumn Toile, T-O-I-L-E. And I'm just wondering what I've just done with those squares. Bum, bum, bum. Well, I know they're not very far away. There they are. Okay, so I'm going to put these pieces flat onto my panels of card. It looked better before. I'd agree. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I think it's too busy. I think the big trees on their own would look nice. Yes, thank you, Caroline. She's told me they're under the card, and indeed they were. So let me put these layers together. So this has got stitching. I don't know how much of that you can see. So I just literally took the small sheets of paper, picked out the bit of the design that I wanted, and put it through the machine. So I'll show you what that looks like here. So what I've done is tried to pick the ones out that are sort of near the edges, so that I could do another 3 or 4 out of each one. You could also just manually cut them as well. I just quite like it with the stitching. Hi Charlotte, thanks for joining us. So just going to pop these on, so I've got a little border all the way around. It's probably about half a centimetre difference, a centimetre difference all the way around. So the card is 6 centimetres and the little panel is just under 5. So it's a half centimetre border on each side. But obviously you could cut out, if you wanted a narrower border, you could cut out one with the dies and then the other just with the papers and cut them slightly larger if you wanted. So I've got 4 here, and I'm going to alternate those ones that are on the vanilla backing. Oops, daisy. There we go. Put it on here. You could also cut these out at an angle so that they were diamond shaped if you preferred. I've kept them straight. So let's go with the plain side, and I'm thinking dark against this one here, then a lighter one, then a darker one, and then a lighter one, like that. And then my thinking of you could go across the middle, probably there for balance, and I'm just going to wrap some gold thread. So I've got gold, I've also got green, and then in our Christmas catalogue we've got this beige and gold, as well as black and gold. So let's see, there's the gold, and then here's the other one. if I can find the end. It's normally pretty obvious. Might need to take my glasses off, and if I can't see the end, then that solves my problem as to which one I'm going to use. Yep, I'm sure it's there somewhere. Okay, gold it is. Hi Yolan, I hope you are well. How lovely to have you join me, thank you. So I'm going to keep it like that. So my other option was to use this with the trees that I'd already stamped, but I think you'll agree that it's just a bit busier, and also it needs it across the top as well as across the bottom. So I'm going with this one. I could add a bit of texture, I guess, with this stamp set does have these little sort of rocks, so I might just add that. You're not really going to see that they are rocks, but let's try it and see. Let's try it on the bottom end of here, and then if I don't like it, we will abandon that idea. So you could use, if you've got some dots or something like that, you could use that as well. Let's just try this across the bottom. So it's just really to give it a little bit of interest. I don't want it to take away from my pattern. I think that would work nicely. So that's what we're going with, folks. So I'm just overlapping a little bit. I'm just changing the height. Not that it matters particularly. Some of it's going to be covered up anyway. It's a bit like a leopard skin print actually. But I quite like the effect. I hope you do too. So I'm just going top and bottom with that, like so. Let's put that ink pad away. Okay, bear in mind that this is going to go onto our basic beige card, like so. So the other thing I could do is add a little bit of colour with a blending brush, but I think there's going to be a lot going on, so I'm going to leave it as it is. So let's position these. So I've got this one, so dark, light, dark and light, like so. And I definitely want them jaunty. And then I'm going to roll my gold thread around those like that. I'm going to pop these on with dimensionals. Fingers crossed I can see my dimensionals or find them. Of course they're buried, aren't they? Let's see what I can find. Normally I have a set already. Right, let me get another packet, that's the best. What have I got here? I've got that small piece. So won't help me, will it? Jemini. Hooray! A new packet. Sorry to keep you waiting. Of course I'll find the others in a minute. I hope they're still live. Fingers crossed. Right, there we go. So, just going to lift those down, anchor that first one and then press the others against over and just slightly overlapping. So I'm going to put one on each corner, like so. So I say it's really useful to use this two-tone cardstock if you've got lots of layers, because it does keep the cost down, because it's just that little bit lighter. So I'm going to right up to this end, like so. And then let's put so I've got 3 on there. I'm not going to add a dimensional under here because I don't want it to be uneven. I could add a bit of glue if I wanted to. So just pressing that down lightly, and then this one is the same. I'm not going to put anything on that corner. So this one is going at an angle like so. Going to lift it up a little bit, and then this one here. So it works out okay. I could move this one a little bit over. So there we are, and then again nothing on these 2 corners, just on this side here, but I may put a little bit of glue here underneath that. So, and this is a really easy design to recreate with any patterned papers. So although I've chosen little scenes, this could be just floral paper, so you can have a floral and a contrast, a floral and a contrast, and I've done 4. You could certainly do 3. And you could also do this in portraits and have them coming down here. So lots of different options. Right, my thinking of you is going to go across here, but I think I want to put some of this lovely gold on top. So about 4 times the width will give me 3 sort of wraps round and a bow, hopefully. So these are now attached. So let's leave a little bit of space for my bow here. And 1, 2, we go. 3 and a bow. So as a general rule, if you want to wrap around and do a bow, measure 4 times the width of your card. If you want to just do a knot, then 3 times the width of your card will do the job. So, and what I'm going to do is just put a knot and then a bow, and then I can move this up and down on my panel before I put it onto my base card. So let's do this. So that will just stop it unravelling. I can decide on my positioning, and then this can go on here, and I just want my bow to the left, so I'm just going to shuffle this a little bit more. Okay, if you're doing a bow, it's much easier to work on a panel that you then put on your card. Okay, and I know exactly who I'm going to send this card to. So let's just make this bow a little bit smaller, because I don't want it to compete with everything else that's going on. Just trim those pieces off, like so. And then my thinking of you is going to go on here, and I'm going to put it on dimensionals. And if I can find that small piece that I had, I'm just going to do pieces top and bottom so that it straddles the ribbon. No chance of finding that. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off here. How does that even happen? Oh, there it is. Oh. Okay, so just going to cut 2 strips. This is from one of our sheets of dimensional backings. It comes as a complete sheet, and you can use it to die cut, but it's very useful for little strips. So I'm going to put one there. This one I'm going to cut in half so that I can put 2 pieces on. There's 1 and 2, and that would just even the pressure and stops it buckling up, because obviously it's quite a longish piece. Okay, move that out of the way. Okay, so there's my thinking of you. Now I could add a little bit of gold onto here as well. In terms of embellishments. There we are. And that's going to go onto our card base, like so. I'm really pleased with that. And I think this just, although it's ground, it just looks like, you know, sort of background design. So that was a good call. Thank you, Caroline. I'm going to put this on flat. Just make sure I've got plenty on there, but not too much. Make sure I've got some near that ribbon as well. Cord. That's it. Make sure the card's opening the right way. Place this on, and I know I've got about 2.5 millimeters on all 4 edges to play with. So I'm just holding that down. like so. And the next question is, do I need some bling? I am going to put some gold bling on there, I think. Let me lift it up so you can see it, because my camera does look quite a long way away. There we go. I'm hoping that's in focus. It doesn't look in focus to me. But that might be because I haven't got my glasses on. Let me just see if I've got some gold floral accents to put in. I've got some crumb cake ones. I've got these. These are adhesive backed metallic dots. So these come in silver, gold and copper. Or little pearls. They're probably a little too small. I think these will do the job. And we're done. Hello Lynn, thanks for joining us. We're just wrapping up, I'm afraid. So I've got copper, gold. I'm going to use the gold to match the gold thread. So a warm welcome to anybody who's joined us since the start. We're using the Autumn Toile papers, and obviously these could be stamped images. I just wanted to show off the papers really. And let me find I have to be these scissors, a little bit big, but they'll do the job. Go for the smaller ones, I think. So I've got one up there. One here. And one at the top. Like so. There we go, and that just fills in those little gaps. So there we have it, our Autumn Toile card. So the measurement for the base card is 21 centimeters by 20, and then I've used this cut-off piece, which is 20.5 by 9.5 centimeters. This layer here, but you could use an alternative colour for that. And then these I've cut out using the Stylish Shapes dies. This is 6 centimeters and just under 5 centimeters, but you could cut those manually if you wanted to. And then I've used the ground stamp here for a little bit of background. This is Early Espresso backing two-tone paper, and the Autumn Toile papers that I've just cut little pieces out of. So there we go. So I hope you like it, and I will sit and work out where the end of this thread is. Oh, of course I found it straight away, don't I? So that would have been nice too, because it's got a little bit of a natural tone to it, but I'm happy with the gold on its own. That works particularly well now that I found the end. Isn't that always the way? So I'm just going to cut into the top of this and pop my end in there so that it's ready for next time. So there we go. Thank you so much. I do hope you like the card. I hope you like the papers. Thanks, Caroline. I think you probably know who this is going to as well. So Thinking of You card, I've just kept it straightforward and simple, and I hope you like it. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back on Monday in the morning at 10 o'clock for our usual Monday morning session with a new stamp set of the week. This time we're going back to Christmas, and we'll have a little bit of fun with some jolly Christmas characters. So I hope you're able to join me then. In the meantime, happy crafting, and I hope you have a great weekend. I know it's only Thursday, but the weekend will soon come round. Thank you so much. Bye for now, everyone. Oh, and just to finish this off, I do have a nice gold envelope, which I get from my local envelope suppliers. So that will just finish that off. Here it is. A nice bright gold envelope to go with it. There we go. Thank you so much. Bye everyone.